Okay, thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning, Honorable MEC. All protocol is observed. Where do we start? Okay, let's move. Okay, firstly, just for the benefit of colleagues that are meeting for the first time, my name is SIBINDA. I'm a director within the National Treasury, Office of the Accountant General. I'm responsible for the implementation of the municipal minimum competency levels as implemented by municipalities. I oversee that particular program. I'm also responsible for the implementation of the Municipal Finance Management Internship Program countrywide. It's a pity that it's been ages since I've been in the KZN province, but I trust that going forward we'll make sure that we do the necessary verifications, necessary engagements with the colleagues within the KZN Provincial Treasury, including checking whether all intents are valid, are getting the relevant support, the relevant training, the rotation, and are paid what's due to them. So going forward, we'll make sure that that happens. So we had small technical issues that we needed to take care of. But I trust that the last MFMA joint meeting where in KZN Provincial Treasury was there, we have set the rules into the future. What is the theme of today's engagement? Unlocking agility in local government, cultivating agile and ethical finance professionals. Agility, colleagues, resonates with many variables, and we'll talk about that. It talks to, like the MEC has indicated, the willingness and ability to take risks, take innovation, or being innovative, being professional, being responsive to the needs of the people that we are serving, that is the communities, being wanting to see change, being embracing the environment within which we operate, economically, socially, and otherwise. And I want you colleagues to remember those particular definitional aspects for now, as and when I make this particular presentation. And just for the benefit of other colleagues perhaps who do not have institutional memory, the internship program was started in 2004. And necessarily in 2004, because the year before, 2003, saw the enactment of the MFMA law that laid the foundation for financial management governance across municipalities. Coincidentally, that is the period wherein we had a financial injection through the World Bank in the form of Municipal Finance Technical Assistance Program, and a couple of advisors were placed across the country to support municipalities to strengthen the implementation of the reforms. And those colleagues that have institutional memory would also recall that during that period, municipalities were given implementation timeframes with respect to their ability to implement certain key reforms. Those that had capacity managed to implement the budgeting reforms, expenditure reforms, revenue reforms, internal auditing, accounting, and so forth. But those that did not have capacity implemented those at a later stage, those reforms at a later stage. So National Treasury was very generous with respect to the implementation of the key reforms as provided for within the enabling legislation, which is the MFMA in line with Section 168, subsection 3. Or if you like, Section 177 on exemptions and exclusions. So the interns, when appointed then, I think we had around 90. They were supposed to mirror the advisors that were placed across municipalities. And that saw the expansion of the program through the provision of the financial management grant allocations through the Division of Revenue Act. That's when then we started expanding the internship program countrywide. And I think then we had 284 municipalities in 2004. So we've written the internship guidelines to guide municipalities with respect to the implementation of this particular program. And we're hoping that municipalities would institutionalize this particular program within their HR processes HR processes of recruitment, retention, and training and development. And we trust that that is the case. So most interns have moved from being trainees to senior managers, and we have the statistics to actually prove that, Honorable MEC. Most interns have moved from being interns or trainees to managers, senior managers. We have CFOs, we have MMs, and we have other interns that have migrated to working for the provincial treasury and the national treasury. And we have statistics to actually prove that. Actually, the retention rate as we have it now is at around 65%. By retention rate, MEC, we're actually talking about intern going through the process of being accepted within a municipality as a trainee, moving through the budget training office, work rotation program, and being retained by that particular municipality or other municipality. That's how we view retention, and we have 68%. I can give you the numbers how 68% looks like. So the other key thing, colleagues, that we have realized here is that this program, because it's a talent pipeline, it actually provided for certainty for municipalities with respect to ensuring that the natural attrition processes of resignations, deaths, and movements is actually sustained through the continuous pool of these particular resources, the graduates in accounting, economics, and finance. And we managed to sell municipalities as employers of choice across the whole of government through you interns. I think you deserve a round of applause there. Now, how do we go about measuring sustainability of the program into the future? We need to institutionalize this particular program within municipal HR processes. It has to be institutionalized. Why? Because it serves as the basis for talent pipeline for these organizations. What are the organizations here? Municipalities and municipal entities alike. Interns have to be taken through the municipal regulations on minimum competency levels. Can we just see by the show of hands, how many of you have completed this particular program? Minimum competency levels. Hands up. You'll get a salary increment after this presentation. Anyone? 1, 2, 3. It's manageable, MEC. We'll discuss that. But why? That's a key question. Perhaps on the next engagement with your provincial treasury, including your supervisors, we need to ask these critical questions. MEC, we have tied the work rotation plan to the achievement of the minimum competency levels as prescribed by the National Treasury. Why did we do that? To make sure that the interns are retained and get opportunities within municipalities, because this is tied into law, that if you're a municipal official, you have to have the minimum competency levels as prescribed, and specifically that qualification, certificate in municipal financial management. Once again, now that I've clarified that, how many of you have achieved that qualification? It's a salary increment, interns. Come on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's bad. 5 people, very poor colleagues. We also need, MEC, to look into the possibility of sustaining this particular program. Is it possible for the province itself to start looking into other funding avenues to maybe fund this particular program on behalf of struggling municipalities, especially where in municipalities budget is not growing, it's sticky downwards. Why? Because revenue base is declining. Most of their people that we are saving are now indigents, and therefore the revenue base of municipalities is smaller, it's getting smaller and smaller. Perhaps let's look into this particular partnership. Why are we doing that? We are bringing warm bodies within this particular space so that we kill this problem called capacity issues. And many a times it comes back to the warm bodies that are skilled to undertake their related responsibilities under financial management reforms. So therefore we need to expand this particular program and create more opportunities for unemployed graduates in accounting, economics, finance, as risk management. On the other hand, provincial treasuries, what role can you play in terms of compiling a database of interns that have not been retained by those municipalities? Maybe their budgets are not providing for those opportunities. And then we can refer those interns to other municipalities and say, hey, we have a pool of interns that have been trained for over 3 years, and you need experienced warm bodies in your municipalities? How about if perhaps we second these trainees to your municipalities to help you with issues of asset management, supply chain management issues, revenue management, front office management, so that at least we're able to make sure that financial management reforms are implemented by those municipalities. So funding mechanisms are very critical, colleagues. Now, tied to this agility, like I said, willingness to learn, willingness to explore. This just gives you an overview of the broader compliance on the minimum competency levels, on the affected positions as prescribed within the minimum competency levels. I'll share these slides with you. You don't have to write everything down, just for the sake of time. And also, you also get to appreciate the global picture countrywide with respect to where we are, with respect to on the compliance level on this regulated qualification. Let me also raise something which I have not included here, specifically on the issue of the minimum competency levels. Where are we now? We are in May 2023. The qualification that has been included in the minimum competency levels, the qualifications are actually two: the Certificate in Municipal Financial Management and the National Diploma Public Financial Management and Administration. It has been prescribed for key positions within municipalities. Those qualifications are expiring in June 2024. We have embarked on a process wherein now we're asking the minister to start amending those regulations and factor in the new qualification that we've rewritten together with Department of Higher Education through SAQA and Quality Council on Trade and Occupations. I would urge you, colleagues, to fast-track compliance in this regard, because we don't know how that animal looks like on the occupational qualification framework. But at the moment, we're having a discussion with the minister to request the Minister of Higher Education to postpone the deadline date of the last registration end date, which is June 2024, a little bit further to allow us to amend the regulations. So for now, we don't have any feedback. So I'm just cautioning you. Please, when you find time, make sure that you comply, so that at least you are able to be absorbed into the municipal space if you choose that to be employer of choice. We can talk more about that. I'll share with you also these particular statistics. And this is the statistics as per the internship program. You are at 430 as per the last verification that we conducted. I'm of the view that perhaps that number is a little bit bigger than what is portrayed there. As soon as we manage the issues of verification together with the provincial treasury, then perhaps that figure can go a little bit up. So I'm just impressing on you on the numbers here. I'll share with you these statistics. I'm just giving you a global picture here. Now, coming back to the theme, cultivating agile and ethical finance professionals. And this is very critical, colleagues. There are certain developments in the country as led by the Department of Public Service Administration. There's a draft implementation framework towards the professionalization of the public service. I was one of the task team members appointed by the Minister of Public Service Administration. So the draft regulations have been issued. I think government is eyeing already a single public service, and in so doing, there are certain building blocks towards achieving that. And one of those is ensuring that we have a professionalized public service. So these regulations were issued in December 2020 through that particular gazette. You'll get this particular presentation. The purpose was to develop a national implementation framework towards the professionalization of the public service. We've done extensive work with respect to reviewing inputs coming from the public. We are waiting for cabinet endorsement. Once cabinet has endorsed the professionalization framework, it will go to Parliament for ratification and then becomes law. So whether we like it or not, we'll have to be professionals one way or the other, whether as individuals or as organizations. This is for your information at this juncture, but for my trainees, intense, please do a little bit of research there. Just check what this is all about. It is going to have a bearing on how we now look at the public service. We need to change the public service. We need to change the makeup of the public service from a perception point of view by the people that we serve. We need to change the perception from an implementation point of view, that we're working with committed, agile people who are wanting to see change, people who are coming to the public service because of choice, not by default because they couldn't get a job at Deloitte or maybe at KPMG or maybe some private sector company, but because of choice, you're wanting to serve the people who are contributing to this fiscal. So it's your assignment. Please review those particular regulations. So the minister established that task team. We've already made those particular inputs. And what is professionalization? All those variables talk to professionalization, and most of the speakers have touched on that. We talk about greater responsibility, accountability. It's based on specialized theoretical knowledge. There's a need for you to contribute something towards the broader public sector, whether it's accounting, economics, finance, risk management, and so forth. Your contribution will talk to that. Autonomy, clients rather than customers, direct working relationships, ethical constraints, and so forth. So I'll share this with you for your own self-directed reading. And these were the pillars that we focused on. Pre-entry recruitment and selection, that's going to be very critical. Necessarily on how the municipality looks at you as an employer. I think you're aware that there are human resource, COGTA issued local government HR staff regulations. You're aware of that, isn't it? That is going to change the makeup of how municipalities undertake recruitment, retention, and selection, including training and development, and the makeup of their budget and treasury office, including the broader municipal organizational structure. The deadline for implementation is July this year, 2023. Please engage with your HR managers, see how that is going to impact on you as a person, as a professional, as somebody aspiring to make a career out of local government. Issues of induction and onboarding are going to be streamlined. Planning and performance management is going to be streamlined. Remember that previously we had the so-called Municipal Systems Act, Section 56 and Section 57 appointees only signing performance agreements. Now, in line with the municipal HR staff regulations, everybody must sign performance agreements. Everybody must sign performance agreements. And those performance agreements must be linked to the performance management development system. Please go look at those municipal HR staff regulations. So there's complementarity here in terms of what we are doing. Firstly, there's a professionalization framework. There's the minimum competency levels as issued by National Treasury as per the amendments. And then there's the municipal HR staff regulations. So there's synergies within all these critical areas. Why? Because we are one state, okay? Continuing learning and professional development is also critical. Career progression is going to be streamlined. So please make sure that you do a small research on that. And I don't want to take too long a time to discussing these things, but let me just end at that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.